Christmas Eve was always loud in our house. Even when money was tight or people were in a bad mood, there was always noise. The TV playing in the background, dishes clinking in the kitchen, someone laughing too loud after too much wine. That year was different. That year, the house was quiet, too quiet. Snow pressed against the windows, thick and heavy, swallowing every sound from outside. The lights on the tree flickered softly, casting long shadows across the living room walls. I remember thinking how peaceful it felt, like the house itself was finally resting. Then just after midnight, we heard singing. At first, I thought it was the TV, some old Christmas special my parents had forgotten to turn off. The sound was faint, barely there, like it was coming from far away. But then I realized something was wrong. The TV was off. The singing wasn't coming from upstairs. It was coming from below us, from the basement. The voice was slow and uneven, dragging each word out of the carol, like it was being learned for the first time. It wasn't cheerful. It wasn't warm. It was off-key, hollow, like someone imitating a song they didn't understand. My mother froze mid-step. My father muted the room by instinct, raising his hand slightly like that could make the sound clearer. We all stood there listening. "Silent night," the voice sang, stretching the words too long, bending the melody in ways that made my skin crawl. I remember my heart beating so hard I could hear it in my ears. The basement door was at the end of the hallway, closed like it always was. We never used the basement much. It was unfinished, cold, just concrete walls and old boxes. My father said it flooded sometimes. He said nothing down there was worth keeping. The singing stopped abruptly. The silence afterward felt heavier than the sound itself. My little sister whispered, asking if someone was downstairs. No one answered her. Then the singing started again, louder this time, closer. The words were clearer now, and then it sang my name, not shouted, not whispered, sung, drawn out gently like it was part of the song. My stomach dropped. My mother's face went pale. She shook her head slowly, like she was trying to wake herself up. My father grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer. He told us to stay where we were. I remember the beam of light shaking slightly in his hand as he walked down the hallway. Every step he took toward the basement door made the singing grow quieter, like it was retreating or hiding. He opened the door. Cold air rolled out, thick and damp, carrying the smell of earth and old water. The basement stairs disappeared into darkness. The singing stopped completely. My father stood there for a long moment listening. Then he called out, asking if anyone was there. His voice echoed down the stairwell and came back empty. He went down alone. The flashlight beam bounced along the walls, jittery and unsure. We waited at the top of the stairs, holding our breath. Seconds stretched into minutes. I remember thinking that something felt wrong, like the house was listening to us now. Then the singing started again. This time, it came from behind us, from inside the house. My mother screamed. The voice sang all our names, one by one, slow and careful, like it was checking them off a list. I spun around, my heart hammering, but there was nothing there. Just the tree lights flickering, just the quiet living room. My father shouted from the basement, asking what was wrong. The singing stopped. When he came back up, he said there was nothing down there. No radio, no speakers, no people. Just boxes and concrete and silence. He told us we were overtired, that we'd imagined it. We didn't argue. None of us wanted to. We went to bed shortly after. I lay awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle. Just before I fell asleep, I heard it again, very softly, coming from beneath the floor, singing a carol I didn't recognize, and at the end of it, my name, sung like a promise. I thought moving away would end it. After that Christmas, after the singing from the basement finally stopped, I told myself it was over. Just stress, old pipes, a house settling, anything but what we actually heard. I didn't talk about it for years, not to friends, not to my partner. Some things feel dangerous to say out loud, like naming them gives them permission to come back. It wasn't until my mother died that I learned the truth. I was going through her things, old paperwork, insurance documents, faded photographs curled at the edges. At the bottom of a filing cabinet, beneath expired warranties and yellowed receipts, I found a thin folder labeled only with our old address. Inside were copies of records I'd never seen before. Police reports, statements, a single newspaper clipping dated December 24th, almost 30 years earlier. The headline was small, buried in the corner of the page. Family tragedy on Christmas Eve? I sat on the floor and read it 3 times before the words made sense. A family had lived in our house before us. Parents, 2 children. According to the article, neighbors reported hearing singing coming from the basement late into the night. Christmas carols, slow, off-key. The police were called for a welfare check just after midnight. They found the parents upstairs, seated at the dining table, hands folded, eyes open, mouths frozen in wide smiles. The children were never found. The basement was empty. No sign of a struggle. No door leading out. No explanation. The case went cold within weeks. At the bottom of the article, one sentence stood out. Responding officers noted faint vocalizations continuing from the basement after the house had been cleared. I felt sick. I dug deeper. Old property records, city archives, church documents. That's when I found the name of the house's original owner, listed in a handwritten ledger from the early 1900s. A man identified only as a lay minister. No first name, no family listed. Beneath his name, someone had written a note in faded ink. Choir master. The local church still stood, though barely. I went there on a gray December afternoon, pretending I was just curious about the building. An elderly woman was inside, arranging candles for Christmas Eve service. When I mentioned the house, her hand stopped moving. She asked how I knew about it. I told her my family had lived there. Her face tightened, and she crossed herself without realizing she was doing it. She told me the story wasn't something they shared anymore. Too many people had stopped coming after hearing it. According to her, the house was built over what used to be a small meeting space. Not a church. Something older. The choir master believed that certain songs, sung the right way, could open doors. Not metaphorical ones. He believed Christmas was the easiest night to do it. A time when the boundary between voices was thin. He gathered people, families, promised them comfort, salvation, a place where no one would ever be alone again. Most never stayed long enough for anything to happen. But some did. Some heard the singing and followed it. I asked her where the children went. She shook her head. No one knew. Only that after every incident, the house would go quiet again. For years, sometimes decades. until another family moved in, until another Christmas Eve arrived. That night, I couldn't sleep. I was staying in a motel miles away, but it didn't matter. Just after midnight, my phone buzzed. A voicemail notification. No missed call. Just the message. I listened to it once, then again, and again. It was singing. Low, slow, wrong. A Christmas carol I hadn't heard since childhood. My name was woven into the melody, stretched and bent until it barely sounded human. In the background, beneath the voices, I could hear others joining in. Children. Too many of them. Singing like they'd been practicing for a very long time. I deleted the voicemail. It came back the next night, and the night after that. Every Christmas Eve since. No matter where I am, no matter how far I go, at exactly the same time my phone vibrates. Sometimes it's a voicemail. Sometimes it's just audio that starts playing on its own. Always the same song. Always the same voices. And always my name. I don't listen anymore. I don't need to. I know what happens if you do. I know why the singing never stops. Because once you hear it clearly, once you recognize your place in it, you don't just listen, you join in.